Hi, my name is Rich. This is a 1935 convertible sedan I recently purchased, and I thought it would be worthwhile to make some videos of my restoration process as I go along. So follow along if you like and watch this restoration process as it goes. Alright, this Ford had already been converted for hydraulic brakes, but one of the first things I wanted to do is to go through the brakes and make sure they were all good. Turns out the front brakes were locked up and the back brakes here. This is what I'm looking at right now. Now, I've taken this all apart. I've taken off the backing plate, these bolts here. Here's one of the hydraulic lines that are coming in. And I don't know if you can see, I've mounted it here to this radius bar so it's secure. But I took off the backing plates, and I'll show you what I learned from that. Okay, this is the backing plate for one of the rear. Let me get the right one here. Hold on. Here's the backing plate for this rear wheel. You can see the emergency brake comes in through here, and it fit on like that. I got it off. Obviously, I cleaned it all up, sandblasted it. I'll still go through and paint it. And then the other thing here is this is a grease retainer that kind of went on like this, but in the process of taking it off, I kind of destroyed that grease retainer, so I had to get another one. Now, one of the things I learned when I took this apart is you see this little cam and the nut on the back. When you turn that, this cam rotates and it moves the shoe in and out. I didn't realize that when I was trying to disassemble that. It might have made it a little bit easier. If I had backed that off, then the shoe would have been a little bit looser when I was taking it apart. But that's what these nuts are here for. When you adjust the brakes, the cams here will move the top of the shoe closer to the drum. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about my experience with these anchor pins. You see the anchor pin? And this little cam that's used to adjust the brakes. It fits on there like that, and that will go through to the back. And so as you turn this, you can see how it will move the shoe back and forth. Now, when I was taking these apart, this was all rusted so much I could not turn this screw at all, and ended up having to really wail on this and hammer it out in order to get it out and clean it all up. And in the process of doing that, you can see some of these got boogered up pretty bad. Here are the strips, here the threads are pretty well stripped on one of them. So these are not cheap. They're between 15 and $8 a pop. But one of the guys in the club had suggested, and it worked really well, is to take a tap and die and just like recut these threads and clean them up. And oh boy, let me tell you, I did that both on the nut and on the bolt, and it made the world of difference. So this stuff really slides back on really easily again, and it saved me having to buy new ones. Well, in the process of checking out the hydraulics, here's the old master cylinder, and I took a couple of the wheel cylinders off, and these guys are pretty corroded in here, and I wailed on them for a while. I thought maybe I would hone them out, but these were so frozen in there, I just said nuts to it. And so I went ahead and I bought the kit. So I got a new master cylinder, and the kit came with the 4 wheel cylinders and the hoses I have. So that way I'll put it all back together. Master brake cylinder, 4 wheel cylinders, all the hoses, and then I also decided to replace some of the brake lines too that were rusty and clean. So that way I'm comfortable that the brakes are all good. Okay, time to reassemble. We're working on the rear left tire. I just got to plug in there to keep the dirt out. We're going to put the backing plate back on, and with it the drip the grease strip will go on like that. Let's see here. Make it easier to put a couple of these in first. Let's see how this works. Put the bolts in the back. Okay, with all the nuts in the back, 3/4 inch, we're going to tighten down. Okay, what I did here is actually thread it on the brake line first, just to make it a little bit easier. Make sure I get it lined up. And then I'm going to put these in, the bolts in. Just as I thought it'd be a little bit easier to do it that way than to try and, I thought it would be easier. We'll see if this works. Get these bolts started. They're in there tight. Alright, and then I'll just tighten up the brake line. Okay, we're on the last wheel, and you pretty much know the routine by now. We're going to put the backing plate. This is the front left wheel that we're working on, front driver's side, and let's put her together. get to this one. Alright, we'll tighten those up with the socket wrench and put on the cotter pins. Alright, last backing plate is on. Cotter pins are in place on both sides. Not sure you can see. We're ready to put on the wheel cylinder. Okay, we're ready for the last wheel cylinder. I went ahead and put this piece on there just a little bit easier to get that clamp on. And so I'm going to tighten this up like this. We'll torque that down a little later. Let's get the wheel cylinder in. So much easier to put the stuff together when it's clean. And we'll mount this piece right up in like that. Good to go. Okay, so the bracket's in and the hose is connected up to the bracket. We're good to go. All the wheels are done. Now I just got to put in the master brake cylinder.